So yeah, hi. I've never used a podium before, but I'm going to tonight. So my first book was Morek, and then I started working on an autobiography, as if I lived to 3012, and some other exciting things happened, and I wrote this into a book that just came out 2 minutes ago, called the Aesop for Children. So I'm really excited about this autobiography. And so this first poem is the introduction to the book. Yelling, unfortunately, will be required. It is your raising of question that provides us our much-needed connection, an afternoon to canoe through a river of alternatives and trout. You are a person, not a tangle of lures. You can explain yourself whenever you'd like. Often, you will put too much stock in the broth. You can dump it out, down the drain, into the ditch, all over that brand new Camry on loan from the universe you never wanted. The Camry or the universe. The photograph of all your loved ones, and it doesn't look like you one bit between them. But don't fret. If you sing someone's name, it means a lot more in the depth. I have been here long enough to know what I'm talking about. Music is what happens when the farmer misplaces his hatchet and calls it a day. A name is what happens when the snowplow worker comes along and is invited inside for warmth and gravy. When a soul gets sucked by the camera, it matches the rising wail I hear when I close my eyes against the glass. I can finally understand the pecking of birds. It takes more energy to conjure empathy than it does to pick up the kernels with my unshaped mouth. A giant tractor is never far away. A giant heart attack is basically the same as a small one, as long as they both kill you. If you think about it, it is true. If it is true, we call that emotion, and my cousin only tells one story. A man in the city leaps from a building and is stuck in the net for a very long while. This view is what he unintentionally gave himself. How many times has he hung this shirt out to dry, these underwear now concealed and wilting? Remember the importance of the mesh that holds in the skin clasping my lungs against a mysterious gray sack of goop discovered only once I passed out in the grocery store parking lot in April. Despite all this knowledge, I'm still unclear on some versions. Often you will be disappointed when you flail and the world fails to notice to bring you a fresh cup of closure. What I'm saying is every now and again you'll be hijacked by feeling. Every now and again get stoned and run your body through a tourniquet of mud. Some friends will wear patches over their kisses, but do not worry. This only concerns you for so long, nearly the time it takes to empty the broth water and start again. You should start again. At least one person will be foolish enough to love you a second time. You will want nothing to come out of your butt, but it does. Once you locate the source of the dripping, you can continue on to your marriage dance and eventually death. And after all of this, it is still best to follow your gut. That manual I left there long ago. So there we go. That's the introduction. I feel really smart behind this podium. Speaking of feeling really smart, I'm lucky enough to have a class with a lot of really smart people, and with a really smart professor named Heather Crystal. And so recently, during the first class, we were talking about the origin of words, and like specifically with our language, like our first words. And so I took the list of everyone's first words and I wrote a poem using that. And so thinking about my first word, which I won't tell you what it was, because I don't have to. But also my friend Milo Winter illustrated my autobiography. And this is a really good picture of me after I said my first word. It's called Destined to Blow Off. Mermaid turned out to be a balloon, but I said hi anyway. My dad was proud. He said woof because he was a wolf. I called my grandmother Banana. I called myself Bob, but only for the first 7 cognitive years. Then I muttered snake when I looked into the mirror. The sun was warmer than it had ever been before. Good still, 3 still, black still, the shadows flickered. I was too small to stab myself in the belly. The wind loved my smooth skin. What can one worm do? I will tell you. It can blow back all the dust you wrongfully felt destined to blow off. And then, of course, I aged and became a teenager. So this is my teenage poem. Somebody. Do you know your tongue is a muscle? Do you know it is limited in protecting your face? One man claims a poem is a machine, an orgasm says another. Often this body feels so electrical problem, a day's worth of microwave beeping and television toasting backed into these bowels. Do you know you can live forever without a penis? Did you know I can no longer lift you above my head? I won't drink beer for a week tomorrow. I will do some sit-ups, maybe 20. Today I strolled until my pits welcomed stains like two suns in a startled sky. I didn't ask to be made, but since I'm here already, I reckon I should rub against something now and again. That was the teenage poem. Big thanks to Joe and Malvern and all the wonderful staff here. I'm really happy to read here again. I'm probably going to get banned soon from reading here because I've read here a lot, which is fine. This is what I want to be my last reading here. This is going to be fun. Yeah, so thanks a lot. Also, I went to college, and then this is my college reunion poem. It's called Doofus Life. These days, I live under a bridge made of pancakes and eerie light. The decaying mailmen stay away, or at least stay quiet when they brave past the lake to breed. A million seeds spread. I believe in a colony of Jim Carrey lookalikes. If you had told me, I could have predicted this next line correctly. Button-ups undone over white t-shirts, eyebrows can induce fainting. The terrible heat and I have been extra sweaty this week. I have been grumpy despite how refreshing the shadow is. This next line is probably the best place to say sorry. Sorry. Let me sit and I promise to never wear your pajama pants in the reeds again. Ever think about the second time we had raisins on the beach in Carolina? I was surprised. So another part of this project, this autobiography project, was I have a really long list of titles of phrases and words that I've heard from people, and I have them in my phone as cool titles, and it got really long, and so I was like, well, I'm gonna use this project also to take care of that list, and so this is one from that. It's called Beef Jerky Energy Drink. I can't remember the name of that scientist in Brooklyn who bought both with her final $10. Essentially the one who taught me to behave this way. I was hurt. I was waiting on someone to turn me into a farmer. I squeezed the last drop from a melon with my good hand, and then there was no one left to shave my back. My eeks and my aches and the trembling with shears in my mitts. The scientist appeared with the maroon handkerchief and waved it at my face. Nothing happened like a bulbous nose. I did not become an old plow or worse speller. I still had this backside of fur. I did barrel into the desert to hunt for arrowheads. I did come back with a tentacle belonging to a giant worm, courtesy of Trimmer starring Kevin Bacon. I did wake up with bed bugs the size of Hershey Kisses. I did begin to blabber and haven't stopped since. Hello, my name is Broken Mud, is trimmed trees, is U-Haul full of piñatas, is Goliath after he fell hard. Yet I think of myself as normal. I am often tired. I eat about a half dozen eggs a week. I ask questions only an idiot would answer. I ride my bicycle only when the weather is perfect, and I once made a pumpkin do a handstand. Oh yeah, and I'm half otter. There are potatoes growing out of the ground, and I take that as a sign things are going to be okay. We come into this life to be productive, but end up covered in chicken pox. I loathe the beach and I love the cold, which has made me unable to be left alone or green. All right. So this is another one from that good titles list. It's called Bone in the Throat. And I teach creative writing summer camp for kids called Badger Dog. And I always ask them before we start the poetry section, like, what is poetry? And, you know, I get like It's a little story, it's a little song, right? Which is great. That's all true, very true. But also, I get some wacky ones sometimes too. But the best one I've ever gotten is poetry is a bone in the throat, which is also really true. So this is called, I stole it, and this is bone in the throat. You won't even recognize me once I finish this tub of Miracle Whip. My teeth so greased with relief and my hair barely holding on to my skin. If not for this bone in my throat, I do better to warn you there is only one mailman left in this life. Beyond this, I am determined to cough this up and apologize for the wishy-washy behavior of these last 11 centuries. I am not one for muttering excuses, but I am one for learning to sing like a dog and two boys argue over John Ashbery. There is more than one rat left in this world. There are no walls left inside this house, and I feel I must label my feelings ekphrastic, art inspired by this bone in my throat unclogging. So yeah, I've learned a lot about myself writing this autobiography, as I've made up all the facts. And so some of the things I've learned that you might have picked up on are mailmen are disappearing, something weird's going on with poetry. What else? Oh, I'm half otter. I've discovered that. My head has been changed from a skull to a hologram. Oh, an Ace Ventura Pet Detective VHS has replaced the Bible. So there's a religious man going around cutting off everyone's hands so they can't push the tape back in the... yeah, that's what I know so far. I think, let me know if you learn anything else. Okay, this was the first one I wrote with this project in mind. It's called 31st Century Things. I am half otter. What is the other? Mostly spare parts. We barrel into this life pushy to be ha-ha and helpful, but often it ends out dark, or at least covered in white zucchini, which is what they call cocaine these days in outer space. No one has seen a real zucchini in years, but they know the beach and piñatas often despite the mold. They celebrate often, unlike this guy I loved in college. He was one sit-up short of becoming a police officer, though shoe egos the universe wiping its future brow, better off no doubt for his core failure, though boo-hoo poor him, he did struggle years after rubbing his regret like comet dust into the bags under his eyes. He told me, once I had a picture of God in my head, and now it is a cassette tape. He chases the image and comet dust across his velvet suit. I lean in to cheer him up. I show him my whole smile. I even buy a few silly old-fashioned astronaut helmets to break the tension. To no avail. On the way to my porch, he ran into the dealer on whom he honed interrogation tactics, like shoving a shaken bottle of cola down his pants. The dealer's one remaining henchman, an alligator on hind legs, emerged from behind the slide and severed this guy's most important artery with a single tooth. The head dangling, the body swallowed by bugs. One thing never changes. So often it is only the head we leave behind. The buck and his antler over the television, the enemy's skull defeated and stabbed through with the stake. A man so bulbous in Houston he cannot roll out of bed, can only answer questions as ancient episodes of Jeopardy air. This is around the same time I realized my tongue was still a muscle. My own teeth remained bone sideways inside my artificial skull. Alright, I'm going to read two more poems. It always bugs me when people say that, and then I always say it. Sorry. Thanks a lot to Emily and Ben for having me on this reading too. It's really, they're two of my favorite poets. Both really amazing books from one of my favorite presses, Hangman Books, so you should grab their books. And of course, listen to me. Thank you so much for being so sweet. You guys are really nice. Anyway, this one's called Horse Meat. Okay. Quite possibly, though I tried much to not eat horse, I have eaten horse. Disguised as beans and slid across the table, and my throat took it all next to some puddle of good. Or maybe as the fat to make the dog biscuit tear under tooth like chicken. Dave dared me one evening in the park to eat it, or perhaps like a comment, a big hunk in my wide mouth just settled as I dreamed that dream of the circus. All folks I'd ever misled sat down like a family of flies on what is left around me, and the ringleader snapped his whip on the back of 2 mares. I might have jolted and swallowed, though from where this horse meat got here, I could not tell, and cannot guess. Goodbye. Okay, this is my last poem. It's called Existence. Yeah, so thank you guys again. It's Malvern again. Emily and Ben and Hangman Books too. This is awesome. Anything else? Everybody okay? Last poem, let's do this. All right. Yelling will be required.
Hello, my name is prior knowledge of patterns.
Look, a duck! We find our own certainty.
My tongue is a muscle, and so is yours.
My smile is its own reflection.
My hand the part of me refusing to whine.
My knees are knees, that's it.
God damn it.
I am not a cattail weed.
I did not ask to be made.
Let's buy a couple of hats.
Never start from scratch.
Where is that dripping sound coming from?
Your past will change, especially the number of awards.
This is not an indictment. There are no errors here.
God bless the mirage makers.
Extra large t-shirt with a cigarette burn.
Deep fried ice cream.
I can plant a cabbage with my toes.
Every cow has its bird.
I often only have horse sounds for you.
I'm not an expert in suburbia.
My heart grew a little in your cereal bowl.
Big ta-da! This is not worth talking about.
Eat this mango.
My wet lungs, Tomas Solomon.
I think of myself as normal.
This is a weird thing to do for a living.
I am often tired.
I eat about a half dozen eggs a week.
I ride my bicycle only when the weather is nice.
Take my money.
I rented a cabin and it's full of piñatas.
Take my hand.
You have a dress with horses on it.
Please.
Your hat fits my head perfectly.
We unwrapped our presents in the nude. Another calzone for the table.
I am not afraid of my body.
I have beautiful legs.
Thank you.
You have such a beautiful home.
I'm in here.
You cannot be left alone with expensive boots.
I cannot be left alone with a 6-pack of beer. There is no one left to shave my back.
You are afraid of being born half otter.
It is too late.
I'm tired of being made mostly of water.
Quick, someone invent my creation myth.
One small noise and then...
This is just a poem!
Quick, someone set me on fire.
Goodbye. Thank you.